And this thing is bigger than the freaking mid-motor slash. I have to... How's it going, YouTube? It's Lucas here from DVD205 channel, and today I have a video on this. What is this? Well, it's an ECX Ruckus, as you can probably tell. This is my very first RC vehicle that I ever got in, I think, around 2012 when I was 9. And this has been around for quite a while, actually, obviously. This is one of the first generation Ruckuses. I mean, you probably can't tell with the newer body and tires, but I kind of destroyed the other body. So, yeah, this is the first generation of Ruckuses that came out probably around 2010. Just when ECX was starting to become, like, around. This was actually technically an ElectrixRC Ruckus, and I had the original body. I still do, technically. I have two of the original tires. The only thing that I don't have, annoyingly, because I'm upset with myself, and just, is the electronics. I threw away the electronics, because I don't know why. The ESC was still probably fine. The receiver and remote were still fine. The steering servo probably died. And the motors kept dying. Like, this thing ate motors just for breakfast. Even Power Wheels motors, and Ryobi motors, and whatever else motors I can throw in this thing, it kept killing. I don't know why. Even though I was running NIMS, just probably because I was running 7-cell, but I don't know. So, yeah, this is technically the original. I mean, yeah, because I actually had this, and it was torn apart for like 2 years until I actually went and put it back together, sort of. Yeah, is still close to the same one that I got a while ago. I mean, it's brushed, it's 27 megahertz, and yeah, I guess. What I've done over the years, though, has been, replacing the stuff that breaks, obviously. Getting upgraded shocks. These are the original, like, not titanium, but just aluminum shocks. They would look a bit better if I actually cleaned this thing before I brought it in here. Yeah, I still have the original shocks, just these ones I put on here because they're better. Rear tires I had to replace a while ago, actually, with these Proline Mashers, which are really old, because I don't know how, but one of the rims was crushed into an oval, even though it was brushed power back then. I think someone accidentally ran it over. Otherwise, recently, or when I actually put it back together a while ago, I obviously didn't have the electronics, so I had to sort of put in my own. And since it's been 8 years since I got this thing, and I actually got more RCs along the way, this is technically a newer Ruckus servo, a Futaba receiver. There have been a lot of different electronics in this thing. It was brushless at one point, but that motor kind of died because so much dust and stuff and abuse. I actually might put brushless back in here just to have it a bit faster than brushed, which it is actually really fast considering most brushed vehicles today. Kind of going off track. The ESC is actually one of the original ones. Like, this is the second one that I got. It's the same model as the second one that I got. This one is actually off of a newer Ruckus, because I happened to find an ECX Ruckus and an ECX Torment for a lot, relatively cheap. So I got those and then kind of swapped in the parts that I needed for this. So electronics, these two were from the newer Ruckuses. I had a 2.4 gigahertz remote in here. It was LiPo powered, brushless, worked pretty well. I don't really know why I took it apart, but I'm kind of sad that I did, because I didn't actually have all the parts. But yeah, I put together what I could. Otherwise, the front tires don't have any foams in them. because I thought that would be a better attraction, but it turns out they're really not. Still have to find some original tires. Still have to find most of the original electronics that would be in this type of Ruckus, because either it's going to be brushless and modernized, or to the vintage of this vehicle when I got it, and I don't really know which one I want to go with. Tires, interestingly, the rims are the same as the old ones, just those ones are black and these ones are chrome, but the tires are huge for some reason, and these ones are tiny. These ones actually aren't worn, considering what they've been through, because most of the time I had the mashers on there. Yeah. Otherwise, upgrades, aluminum shocks, a servo saver eliminator, which if you're having a problem with your servo saver not really working at all, I find that the servo saver eliminator by RPM works really well, because it actually turns, provided you have a servo that actually can steer and support that level of load on it. Because if you hit a bump, then you risk completely obliterating a servo, and that's what I did before I put this one in here. Otherwise, I have these steel spur gear from one of the other from one of the newer Ruckuses that I got. So an upgrade that I never really had on this thing was a steel spur gear. Now I do, and I'm actually really glad, because this thing annihilates any sort of plastic gear that would be on here. So that fixed my issue. Otherwise, these front body posts I had to take off of another Ruckus, because these things, I didn't have these for a while, so it was just bolted directly to the shock tower, and that worked, I guess. It just didn't look the nicest. The front bumper is actually, I think, an RPM, or it could be an original ECX Torment bumper, I believe. Yeah, ECX Torment bumper. It works a lot better than the original Ruckus bumper, because that Ruckus bumper came out to like here, and you would hit the tires before you hit the bumper. But luckily, on a head-on collision to a flat wall, you should hit this before you should hit anything else. Yeah. So this thing has been through a lot, and I should probably clean it up and actually go through it again. It's all ball bearings. It was when I got it, but now it's all ball bearings. RPM rear arms, actually, because the original ones were wearing out. Titan 12-turn motor. I didn't mention this, but that's what's back here. I want to put a 20-turn in there, or 15, or one of the ones that was actually in here, but that would be kind of slow, I guess. I mean, this thing used to be pretty fast when I got it new, but, you know, that was 8 years ago, and times have changed. So, yeah, I might, I actually went through this and put in the stainless steel hardware kit, which had a lot of leftover screws. I don't know why, but it did. I just kind of went through with some of the parts that I could easily take off and put stainless steel in there, and that worked. So, yeah. I guess I can show you the original body that I still have. That's kind of been torn apart, because that was originally... It was on here. I painted it camouflage. I mean, I can just show you it. This is the poor body that was on the Ruckus originally. It was painted camouflage. It looked really nice, actually, from when I did it originally. But I eventually found it worked a lot better on my electric converted Traxxas Revo, and it wasn't necessarily the greatest conversion, so there was stuff sticking out, and I had to trim the body, and most of the side of the body is completely trashed. Front bumper, you can tell, because it had the original bumper on there, so it was definitely beat to crap. So, sadly enough, I can't use the original body as much as I would like to. I would love to get an original body, because I really liked what ECX did with their bodies back then with the friggin' orange and green. I never saw a green one. I actually did see a green one recently of that, the first gen Ruckuses, but this one was originally in orange. I had a really nice picture of it when I first got it, but I don't know where that went. So yeah, just look up original ECX Ruckus, and you'll find the electronics it had in it and the original tires and the body and stuff. I'll have to find something that's close to it as a clear body and paint it up kind of how ECX had it, but also a new spin on it. Yeah. Otherwise, tires I'm probably never gonna change. I probably can't find anything unless if I just bought a mint condition Ruckus, but then it wouldn't be the same, I guess, as just having this Ruckus. Yeah, I guess. So, that is the overview of my Ruckus and how it's changed over the years, as my last update of this thing was actually when it was still brushless, when it was still together, when I was still happy with it. Yeah, I have to put a brushless system back in here, and yeah, have to go over it. I don't know what to do with it. Either I make it all original or just go back to modernizing it. So, personally, I don't mind brushed vehicles. This thing is pretty fast, and I mean, it would be fine for a younger person. And actually, if someone asked me what I would recommend for a younger person, either a Traxxas Mini E-Revo or an ECX Ruckus. These things are unbelievably durable. I'll have to actually take this back to a skate park or something. Can't really take it to the original skate park that I used to take it to, but whatever. So, yeah, memories and kind of more story-driven video, and yeah, I don't actually have any of these twisty lock things. I just have Velcro, which broke 3 times, but yeah, more sentimental than just here's the Ruckus. So yeah, Lucas out. Bye YouTube.